Hello, Miss Viv. We are live.
We are live on location today from Byron Bay and Noosa.
Yay! How are you?
I'm in my usual office down by the lake.
And I'm sitting outside the library in Byron Bay after a nice morning at the beach.
Nice. So, hello to everybody, and there's Silas in the background. Hello to everybody watching us and joining us live or later. I just had a great topic jump into my head. I love when Tiff and I get together. There's usually, what do we want to talk about today? What's up? What's up in people's worlds? And we all have this capacity to perceive other people's shit. Have you noticed that? But even better, we start thinking it's our own. So I said to Tiff, hey, what about this title? What do you get? You know, what to do when it all, you know, when you lose your shit or when it goes to shit. So there, take it away, Tiff.
Well, I mean, it's funny because then we were talking about different ways that we could also talk about this topic, and you know, we always are also interested in like who's actually going to be watching this now and who's going to be watching this in the future, and what contribution can we be to you guys watching it. So, you know, there is that thing of, you know, obviously you and I have the tools of access consciousness, which is what we've you know, very much built the Ladies Lounge from. And our lives from, in, you know, having these tools and using these tools, and just knowing that you have tools available, so that when whether it's your shit or somebody else's shit goes to shit, that there's always a way to change it and not become the shit. Basically, it's like, how do you have shit go on without becoming shit?
And you know, that I think as a woman, as a parent, as a person on the planet these days, it's like there is so much shit around, and you are, you know, aware of other people's shit. So I've got a question for you right now. For anyone watching, you know, what happens when you lose your shit? Do you fight? Do you go into resistance? Do you go into wrongness? Do you go into judgment? Do you shut down? Do you explode? Like, what's your way when things go to shit? Because it's like this automatic response system that we have, and no matter afterwards how much we calm down, and it's like, oh, I could have said this, or I could have done that, or I feel embarrassed, or I'm cranky at myself, or losing my shit at the kids, for instance, when I'm a terrible parent, or rather than, okay, what can I be and do different? What can I be and do different? Because the moment you go to question, you're inserting a possibility. You're inserting something, even if you don't know what it is. Just the fact that you're going, okay, I don't want to do this anymore. I'm choosing not to do this anymore. So how else can I be in this situation? Because shit happens. You know, you've got family, you've got friends, you've got life. Shit happens. So what can I be and do different? Not differently. Differently is kind of like a little incremental shift rather than, no, what can I be and do different? So this totally changes so that I'm not at the effect. Because often when other people are losing their shit, then what do you do? And that's the other part of this. It's like when you have people around you losing their shit, they're getting angry, they're getting upset, they're in pain, they've just freaked out about something. What do you do then? Do you try and pacify and pat a cake and try and make it feel comfortable and better for them? Do you jump in with them and add your energy to their energy and start to escalate each other? It's like, what if there was a totally different way to be, a space that when somebody else is losing their shit, or even you are losing your shit, that it's like, no, I'm choosing something different here.
Yeah. And, you know, I mean, just while you were talking there, Viv, it's like that, you know, all of life comes to me with ease and joy and glory, or like you were saying, question. And I think question opens the door to possibilities always. So even that question of like, okay, so what, how can I be here to create a different possibility?
And it's such a different concept because our automatic response is to do. We jump in, we try and fix things, we try and smooth things over, we try and, like I said, pacify or make things better rather than, what can I be different here? Because that's quite a bit of a a head twister to anybody that hasn't heard the tools of access. It's like, what do you mean be? So what do you mean be? It puts you into the question of, well, what could I be? What kind of person do I want to be here?
Yeah. And I mean, oftentimes if you're talking about, someone losing their shit, for example, as someone that's, got some anger going on or whatever, and they're going off, most people's response to that is to put up a barrier and run away, or put up a barrier and resist and react, and all of those things are really places where you are being the effect of that, rather than a different possibility of like, if I wasn't being the effect of this here, what else can I choose?
And that's a critical point too, Tiff, because what we're doing in that moment with those questions is we're making a different choice. We're learning, oh, I've got choice here. I don't have to go back to the old, the old system, the old pattern, the old habit, the old limitation. And then it's like, okay, I have a different choice here, because a lot of us think, but I don't have a choice. This happened to me and he's doing this and he's doing that. Yeah, but you have a choice as to how you either react to that or respond. So what if you started to respond to situations in a way that created something greater? And this isn't a logical, right, I've got to plot and scheme and choreograph this. It's just in the moment when the heat is rising, when people are getting a bit, the temperature's getting hot and people are getting a bit reactive. Just in your mind, if you say to yourself, what can I be here? What kind of person do I want to be here? What choice do I have here? And by you not adding fuel to the fire or withdrawing, you actually present a different possibility to the whole outcome of what potentially could turn into something really inflammatory.
Yeah, I was having a conversation with a very good friend of mine today, actually, and we were talking about how he was talking about, whether he should speak to somebody about how this person was making him feel with the way that they were being. And I sort of said to him, well, the thing is that no one can make you feel anything. It's your choice as to how you choose to respond to whatever they're dishing out or putting forward, or however they're treating you. You get to choose. You get to choose how to respond. You get to choose how to be. And, so many people, I guess, do that thing of like, well, he made me feel this. It's like, well, you actually get to choose how you feel. But a lot of us don't think that we have that choice, because oftentimes our emotions just, it feels like they come over us and you don't have control of them. But you know what? You do have choice in every moment. And one of the greatest ways to get yourself to that space of having a different choice is to ask a question in that moment and see what shows up, and know that you can, create something different always.
Yeah, and I know when I've introduced this concept to people, it's like, yeah, but I'm so heated in the moment. I'm so angry that my mouth starts going, and my reactions, it's like that survival instinct, that flaring, that defense mechanism becomes so dominant. Just listening to this conversation, just listening to this Facebook Live that Tiff and I are having, is already creating a different possibility in your world. So if you've ever desired, it's like, I don't want to keep yelling at the kids. I don't want to keep shutting people out or, swearing at people or reacting. I want to be a different person. So this thing, when we talk about, asking a question, it starts to create this wedge. It kind of, if you think about opening a door, you've got a very dark room, and behind that in the other room is a bright light. The moment you open that door just a millimeter, how much light comes into that room. So when you ask a question, any question, even how does it get better than this, when you realize you have a choice in that moment to take the course of your journey through that situation a different direction, you start to empower yourself to realize, wow, choice is one of the most powerful tools and gifts that I have available to me. And what we talk about is, right, now how do I insert choice into areas of my life where I think I haven't had a choice? Because you always have choice. Even if you don't think you have, you always have.
Yeah, and I mean, we're not necessarily taught that we have choice in the way that we do. We do have infinite choice, and every moment is a moment in which you can choose, which
Yeah.
means that whatever you chose in the last moment, or 10 minutes ago, you could choose to choose something different 10 minutes later if you choose it. There's a lot
Yeah.
of choosing going on here in this sentence, in this conversation, but it's funny because a lot of people are like, no, don't make me choose, I don't want to have to choose, but really it is such an empowering thing that we all have available. And it's like, how
Yeah.
can you use choice to create something greater in your world, and maybe with that in the worlds of everybody around you as well, if they choose to receive it.
Yeah, and that's another really great point, Tiff, because you're thinking, okay, well, if I make a different choice, but it does change everybody around you, because instead of just passing the baton, if it's a family situation or a relationship situation, if one of you's angry or reactive or upset and you keep passing the baton, it's going to continue. But if you're willing to just go, I'm not picking up that baton, I'm actually going to create a different possibility over here, one that's greater, where we're not fighting or we're not arguing, or we're starting to be kinder to each other, or I'm choosing to be more aware of how I'm being with you, because I don't want this to continue. I don't want this to keep showing up. For those of you that are in relationships, if there's certain patterns that keep showing up over and over and over again, knowing this information, you've now got a different possibility to actually change the course of that relationship. The other person may or may not want to go with you. That's fine. That's their journey. But if you're going, I'm done fighting, or I'm done getting upset, or I'm done reacting, I'd rather be at peace here. I'd rather be happy. I'd rather choose joy. You've got a different choice.
Yay for choice.
Choice for president.
Yeah. Do you want to say hello at all, Silas, to everyone?
Hey, buddy.
Do you have choice? What would you like to choose right now? Cool. Well, my lovely friend, it's always delightful to speak with you and share our conversations with the world. Yeah.
So what choice do you have today that you've never believed you've had, never perceived you've had, that you actually do have? Infinite choices.
Yeah.
Thanks, Tiffy.
Adore you. Adore everyone. Thanks for being
Bye,
here.
Silas.
Ciao.
Bye.
Bye, Siley.
Bye.
Oh. I'm having trouble ending it. Don't end it. Oh, no.
Don't leave
Hang on.
me this
Oh, here we go.
way.
Okay, it's happening. Bye.
Bye.